Programming question. We have been given a C program, and for that there are these 4 statements among which we need to identify which of them is true. So now looking at this program, first they have defined a structure with the name node. So basically a node structure has been given to us in which every node has a int value and it has a next pointer. Then using that node they have initialized this box E, head, box N. Those are the 3 nodes they have defined out of it. And then there is an integer variable index initialized with 0. So now what they are doing is box E and head. They are both referring initially to the same node. This is box E and the head. And using this dynamic allocation, they have newly allocated a node, and these 2 pointers are referring to that node initially. Then this head value, which means the value of this node which has just been created, it is initialized with the index. And what's the value of index? It is 0. So such a node is created. And now they are moving into this for loop in which that same index variable is used with initial value 1 and going up to 3, incremented with 1 at each time. So this particular loop will run for 3 times. And what is it doing? This box n, which was a variable referring to this same for type node, that has been used and a new node has been allocated, which means what will happen is a new node will be created. Box n will be the pointer referring to it. And for this new node, what are they doing? Box E next, which means the next pointer of this existing node is now pointing to this newly created node, and the value it is being assigned is the index. So for the first iteration it will be 1, which means such a new node is being created and the next pointer of box E is being assigned to that new node. And after that, box E equal to n, which means this box C is incremented and now it is also pointing to this new node. And this thing happens for 3 times. So what they are actually trying to do is they are fixing this head variable at node 0 and they are using this box E variable in order to traverse in this particular linked list which is being created. In next iteration, they will create a new node in which the value will be 2 because the index value is being used. That will be referred by box n, and after making this pointer, even this box C will move to the next node. So that is what will happen. In the last iteration, this 3 will be created. Box n will be the name referring to it. This next pointer of 2 will be assigned to 3, and after that even this box 3 will move to the last node 3, and after this the index variable will become 4 after this increment. So this condition will fail and we will come out of the loop. So after completion of the loop, what do we have? We have a linked list like this: 0, 1, 2 and 3. And what are the pointers? At 0 we have the head, then at the last node 3 we have both box n as well as the box E. So now what happens? There is another for loop in which this index is being run from 0 till 3, incrementing with 1 at each time. And in this loop, what are we doing? We are printing value at index %d is %d. And what are they using there? Index and the head value, which means while index is 0, what will they be printing? Let us write that here. So in every iteration, 2 print statements have been given. Let us see what does that print. It will print value at index. And what is the value of index in first iteration? 0. So value at index 0 is head value. What is the head value? It is 0. So this will be printed. Then head moves to the next node. So now this head will move from 0 to 1. And because now there is no reference to 0, so this node will be lost, or we will say that first node or the head node has been deleted and we are moving to the next node. Because previously while creating the list we were using this box E as the iterating variable, but now head itself is being used. So as head moves ahead, the previous nodes will keep on getting deleted. So now head moves to node 1 and we are again printing value at index is what it is, but value of index is still 0. Hence value at index is still 0, hence they are adding 1 to it. So 0 plus 1, 1 is head value. Now head is at 1, so it will print it like this. So that was the first iteration of the loop. Then in the next iteration, value of index will become 1. So what will it print? Value at index 1 is 1. This will be printed. Then head will move from 1 to 2. 1 will be deleted. Then it will print value at index 2 is 2. That was the second iteration. Now this index becomes 2 and this time what will it print? The value at index 2 is 2 and head will move ahead from this. So now head comes to 3 and it will print this statement value at index 2 plus 1, which is 3. And what is that value? Head value. So 3. And then comes the last iteration when index becomes 3. Here what will happen is it will print value at index 3 is 3. So this is printed and now head moves ahead. But now after 3 there is no initialized node and we haven't even initialized it to null. That would have been true if over here when we did this box E equal to n, we should have added a line box at next equal to null. Then in that case the next node of 3 would be null. But because that has not been done, then it is possible that after 3, whichever location is there might be some value stored at that location. So it is possible that we may end up getting a garbage value or we may end up getting null. But for sure in either of the two cases, we are not going to reach at any initialized node for sure. So now when we try to increment this head to the next node of 3, it will definitely raise an error. And we are trying to access that particular index and print the value stored at it. So now this actually becomes dereferencing an uninitialized pointer because we did not initialize it ourselves. It is possible that that particular memory location is valid and some value might be stored in that particular location. And since we did not do it and we didn't even initialize it as null, so this is going to cause an error. So going with this option D, it dereferences an uninitialized pointer which may result in a runtime error. Why have they used this may? Because it is possible that the location next to 3 may or may not be null. It may or may not have some value and we are trying to access that particular location. So hence this may raise a runtime error. And what error will be reached? That you are trying to access a location which does not exist in case it is an invalid location, because that depends upon which address it is. So this would be the most appropriate choice to go over here. What about the other options? The program creates a linked list of 5 nodes. That is definitely wrong because the list created initially had only 4 nodes. Then the next one, upon execution, it goes into an infinite loop. No, this is false. Both of these loops were finite. But just in this last print statement, we encountered an error because this head value was not accessible there. Then the next option, it has a missing return which will be reported as an error. So again, this is not true. At the end of this, we might add a return 0 thing because it is int main. That is not actual cause of error in this. The particular line which is causing error, it is because of dereferencing an uninitialized pointer. So we'll be going with option D.